of the world has wisdom.
Yeah.
Some people get it late, some people never get it, but less than half of the world has wisdom. And the other half does not have enough wisdom to say what you said or to think what you said. Yeah. So I mean, you gotta think of that perspective. It doesn't exist within everybody because they haven't been exposed enough to really sit in somebody else's fucking shoes.
Yeah. The positive in that it could be taught.
It can be taught.
You know what I think is very, very important.
We don't coddle, man.
You need to teach, and you know how you have arithmetic, you teach grammar, you teach all that stuff,
teach
division.
Thinking.
Not only that, teach the brain. How does it work? Yeah. How does it take the information? How does it break it down?
Well, how does drive work? Oof. How do you make a decision based on a fucking, there's the prefrontal cortex, there's the guy in the back. One is pulling the other guy's strings, the other guy's doing what the other guy's dirty work, and that's what makes you. And you think, oh, I decided. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It was chemical.
Absolutely.
They even found an anomaly within certain people who have certain... they've caught a certain bacteria, which is like a disease, that's latched onto certain parts of their brains. And these people are like 80% more likely to drive their car into somebody else during traffic. They're 80% more likely to put themselves in a position to get hurt because that's what that little germ, that bacteria that's in you wants. It needs you to get hurt because when you get hurt, your body goes into trauma. When you go into trauma, it feeds off that moment.
Yeah. That's how stomach bacteria works too.
No, but just to say, you don't make all these conscious decisions. It's not you. There's beyond
the filter.
You.
It's the filter. The
you think you want it because there's something that latched onto your brain that's saying that's what wants. It needs to be satisfied.
Do you know how powerful it is once you realize that awareness?
Yeah, of course.
Once you know that
once you could find this, hold on, I gotta stop myself. What's driving me at this moment?
Control the brain instead of the brain controlling
the drive.
Control the very, very. All right.
But I mean, how many people do you know that can have that conversation with you? Two
or three.
Three. Yeah. Okay. That's and how many people do you know?
And it's not George. This one. It's not that.
I'm just giving an example of wisdom. I had these things. I never studied the brain. I never have any technical background in anything. But I pay attention to things I read and things I watch. I like scientific programming. I like a lot of things that open the door for me, and it answers questions that I've always thought. I just never developed them because I didn't go through those kind of outlets.
Yeah.
But that mixed in with my wisdom or my life experience, it really like changes the way my perspective works, and everything is about the perspective you accept things with.
Yeah.
And it only comes with time.
And I believe that.
It's only wisdom. And again, age and wisdom, it's unfortunate.
It doesn't equate.
It does, though.
It doesn't.
It doesn't, but it does.
You know what?
For everybody, let's say 1,000 people that have wisdom, 100 of them are young. There's a reason. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, very debatable.
It's debatable because it's not a fact. But you could have a sense for what I'm saying. You're saying it's teachable. It is teachable.
It's teachable.
But it doesn't always come through teaching. It comes through experience for most people.
Well, yeah, of course.
And that's why I'm saying most of them are old because of experience.
Knowledge without experience is just information. We get that. But at the same time, you cannot equate wisdom with old age. I know a lot of people that are very old with a lot of experience.
Sometimes the information comes after the experience.
And you got to think about it this way. In an exposure of information that we have today, with the exposure of information we have today, think about it. Somebody could change their mind 17 times in a day. Yeah. There's people that have led a whole lifetime, 50 years, believing the same thing.
When they start connecting the dots.
That's a waste of 50 years. Think about it. Because you've set to one idea in the billions and billions of opportunities, in the billions of different iterations, or what are they called? What's the word I'm looking for? Permutations.
Yeah.
Right? In the millions of those, somebody's stuck with one idea or one ideology. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying the brain is a lot more than what we think it is.
Yeah, I know, but it doesn't make us a failure.
It doesn't make us a failure.
I mean, the fact that you know that took 200,000 years of experience.
I think it's the industrial age. Well, whatever. Let's go further back, right? But let's start with the industrial age because everything really stemmed from there in a way, the world that we know. There's the information age today. I think the next thing is the brain. There's going to be there's going to be a time where
it's the last frontier.
We understand the brain. The brain is what's going to open up everything else, I think.
It's the last frontier.
I think we're there, yeah.
Yeah. It's once you take out the ego, you take away the ego, you take away the shackles of what you've been taught wrong, and maybe certain ideologies, and you just open up all your senses freely without filtering, and you accept information better, everything's going to change.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's...
And we have to be careful with
slow
information.
And steady.
That's what I tell my students. I tell my students, because I teach engineering, and right, there's a little bit of engineering, there's a little bit of science, physics, a little biology, a little chemistry, and it's all into one, right? And you teach them. Don't focus on the information. That's what I teach. Don't focus on the information. Yeah. Information is not valuable anymore. Why? Because everyone has access to it.
It's about having sense.
If everyone has access to it, by definition, it's less valuable.
Having a sense.
There you go. So it's what do you do with it? What is applied knowledge now? Yeah. How do you take that information and do something with it? Yeah. That's the skill today. It's not information. No,
it's about that. It's about creativity.
That's right. Schools were the gatekeepers of information. They held it like this. Yeah. So if you wanted the information, it was either an encyclopedia or you had to go to school. Today, you kidding me? Yeah. Nobody holds information. It's accessible to everyone.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's beautiful, but it's less valuable. So what's next? It's what you do with it.
It's developing people.
The brain is next.
Developing people. Yeah. You're absolutely correct, man. But I mean, we're lucky enough to be living this, man.
I think are we recording?
Yeah, man, we're recording.
Because I think people are going to think we just smoked a joint and talking about this. It went like this.
It'd be interesting. It's legal.
We were getting ready to record, and we started having this conversation the minute Chris walked into my house. I'm like, you know what, let me just press record and see what happens.
Chris was angry today.
I only slept 5 hours.
He only slept 3-4 hours there. Hello, everyone, and welcome, obviously, to another episode of not the Backstage Pod. Retake.
Now we can't use any of the beginning. Scrap.
You have to edit that part.
Yeah, I got confused with the other podcast. Welcome to Just Us Dads. That's the podcast that you're listening to. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the feedback. We've been getting some awesome feedback on the previous episodes.
Friends or strangers?
Friends and strangers.
Okay, good.
Which is a good thing. Obviously, this is something that we're doing for fun. Just a bunch of dads getting together, talking about being dads, and sometimes we
and the dad in the world.
We get into this philosophical debate. So I let that record. Thanks for coming, man. It's the first time we're recording on the weekend.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know, but it's not happening again.
It's my birthday, so I could have asked for anything.
Yeah, I was going to get to that, man. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday, George.
Thank you.
Our big teddy bear. How old are you now?
41.
I thought you were much older.
Okay. I should go dye my hair or something.
You know, it'd be funny if you show up one day with a wig.
That's done. You're done.
Yeah.
Like with a line.
It's going to be so unbelievable.
But I think just for fun, you just walk and act normal. Hey guys, what's up? Full set of hair.
Like Costanza on...
and just record it, see what people say. Oh, man, that's so funny. What are you doing for your birthday? Are you doing anything?
We did it last night. Went out for a big steak.
Were you invited, George? I wasn't invited either, right?
No. You work all the time. You were eating at midnight at somebody else's house.
Yeah,
you guys had plans, so I knew. I sensed it. I have the wisdom.
He felt it. He's like, these guys have plans on Saturdays. Forget it. No, but it's okay, man. Sometimes you don't want to be with other people, man. You just want to...
That wasn't it at all. It's just if I saw you last night, today's conversation would suck.
That's true, too.
We would have worn out all the information.
No, but you just said something. How much do you guys value solitude?
Oh my God. I've been such a isolated my whole life.
I say it, and I feel bad for my family saying this, but I value it so much. Sometimes I just want to be alone and not even with me.
Yeah.
I don't even want to hear me.
Yeah. You want to be just like a fly on the wall. Yeah. Everything else is happening.
That's right.
You have no part of any of it. Yeah, I hear you.
And it's tough, bro, because when you have your house and everything's going on, kids are running around, you don't have that space necessarily to take that time and be by yourself. You know where my fortress of solitude is?
The toilet.
On the toilet,
not
man.
kidding.
Are you done in there? Oh, my stomach. I'm not feeling too well.
How long do you stay?
I don't fake it.
I can easily go half an hour.
My standard is 20 minutes. That's my base.
I could do 40, but in my 40,
You're like, yeah, but you're 40 and you stand up and you're wondering if your left leg's gonna handle the weight because it's numb.
I'm sure that if my wife were here, she'd probably contradict me and like probably bring out a number like maybe closer to an hour, but easily an hour.
So let's
easily half an hour. I mean,
so let's say you break the hour. You have 10 minutes of the stuff you got to do. Number one, number two, or you have a little social media.
Yeah.
Do you fit in masturbation in there?
No.
Not even close.
No.
Yes.
No.
You guys don't masturbate?
We're gonna get there, eh?
No, just a question. I think everybody masturbates.
Yeah. No. I think any guy that will tell you he doesn't is probably not normal.
They're all liars.
Because it's part of your solitude, right?
I know guys and I know guys that sex is one thing and masturbation is a total other thing. It's two different things. It's not even the same. It's not even being sexual. It's one thing is one and
it's definitely conversed that way. It's two isolated conversations completely.
Well, look, what how old are you when you started masturbating?
God, man, I don't know, man. Probably elementary school.
Wow. Like is that 8, 9?
No, bro.
10?
No, like towards the end, grade 5, grade 6.
Wait.
Sec 1.
This is the question. Were you able to come or no come?
Oh my God.
We're
going down this path.
I started.
Are we going down this path? My sister watches this podcast.
I started so early that there was no come. That's how early it was. I'm saying this because I have a 10-year-old boy.
I can't believe we're having this conversation.
No, it's a conversation that everybody has. Conversations that everybody thinks about, it doesn't have. It's still a conversation.
How about we talk about it and how it relates to fatherhood? Versus like how
that
old
was
did
the
you
segue.
start?
I'm going into that to tell you that I have a 10-year-old kid.
Just because it's making me very uncomfortable.
And you know what happens? You're uncomfortable? No,
I'm exaggerating.
Why you think your kid is there?
I think my kid is going to be there any day.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you something. I before you continue, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have a 4 and a 6.
Yeah.
And my 4th is closer to it than my 6.
What?
Yeah.
Did you have to do that?
He gives attention.
You're a bit too close. It was.
Oh, sorry.
He gives certain attentions. He's done some things he needs his personal time with.
No, guys,
I've interrupted. I had to stop him.
No, because maybe he's discovering though, man. Maybe
he's totally discovering.
I don't have guys. I don't have boys. I don't know how that is.
I stopped him, and somehow he's controlled himself. I guess he takes my rule. I guess I created a rule. I guess, and he's following it. But he definitely gave attention to it.
Okay, yeah, but it's there. It's there, guys. You can't avoid it. It's there.
No, it's sort of like a discovery. It's sort of like a baby dog that's humping everything. Doesn't realize why.
That's your 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's not quite like that. I'm just trying to compare it to something.
I got it.
But he doesn't know why.
Showers become longer, right? And how does it work? It's like after a certain point, you start washing yourself, and then you start washing there, and it's like, hey, let me wash a little longer. That feels funny.
That feels nice.
Yeah, let me start washing a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And then you know how I'll know? I think how I'll know. I'll know when he starts locking the door.
Well, no, not necessarily.
Do you have a curtain or glass?
You know what he does today? You know how my son showers today? Door fully open, and he watches the TV. So he showers while he watches TV.
You have a glass,
and I've even caught him on the can.
That's so funny.
Playing video games.
You've told me about that with the door open.
That's borderline obsession, though.
Absolutely.
Well,
of course.
You think if you had a view of your TV from your shower, you wouldn't have done it?
Well, look, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I know what's funny. I can't tell you. Maybe if I was...
How about when you were 10?
Sorry to interrupt.
Guaranteed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we called a 10-year-old obsessed with pooping on the can with the TV, right? And we just said that how we all bring our phones and take an hour.
It's just that the poor kid, his parents just won't buy him a phone.
That's the upset. There you go.
Yeah.
We're all obsessed with that. It's the equivalent.
I've been on the can for so long, I don't remember if I've wiped or not. I'm like,
scatology.
Wow.
Scatology.
Have I wiped yet or not? I can't remember. That's how long
it always ends with a wipe. I can never forget.
I get to a point where I don't remember.
If I wiped, there's no reason for me to stay there.
But just to prove a point of how long I can sit there.
Why would you wipe and stay?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because you might do it. You might have some more after a while. You know.
No, because you just want to just stay in that space. You know, let me get rid of all this shit and stay here.
I've stayed so long, like this part has gone numb.
No,
Like,
my
I
leg
can't
falls
get up.
asleep. You'll fall asleep. I have to like watch out when I stand up.
Apparently, that's not very healthy, eh?
What?
Sitting for long periods of time.
No, it's not good. It's good to alternate.
Can we do an hour a day is good.
No, because I read up on this. There's a certain position that is more beneficial for you to sit and take a crap.
Oh yeah.
Like your legs have to be kind of elevated.
Yeah.
Like if you poop and you put a like a little bench or something, like a
Like Cirque du Soleil
Footstool.
stuff.
a footstool,
Yeah.
so that your legs. I don't know exactly.
It forces you into the fetal position, which lets you empty fat. Better.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
there's like science behind this.
There is.
Yeah,
There's
it's a
science
fact.
behind everything. Yeah.
Though the real way we would defecate
Yeah.
was in the forest, squatting
Squatting.
to the ground, because you don't,
next to
because
your
the higher
cave.
you are from the ground, the bigger the splash ratio. It's not complicated. So you
So,
go lower to the ground, so
George,
you can just sit there.
Are you saying the future of bathrooms is just going to be back to a hole on the ground?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying there's that's probably our more natural, more logical
Yeah.
position.
Don't they have something like that? Like I think it's in Japan where the toilets are like special.
Everything's small in Japan.
In Europe too.
Japan's next level. I think they sleep
yeah.
in drawers.
Yeah. they do.
I think they sleep
do,
in
they
drawers.
do.
It's-
I've seen there was a documentary on apartments in Tokyo,
Yeah, I've seen it. Well,
They're
I've seen
very
like the size of this room, basically.
That's the whole apartment. Your desk is your dinner table, and it's also your bed after.
Yeah, like you fold the bed folds, or
Yeah.
yeah.
You have little compartments to isolate your. When it's your office, you have your office stuff in there. When it's your dinner table, it's there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You can't have a pet. Most places you
You can
can't.
have a bird,
Or a turtle.
No, most apartment buildings you can't have any pets.
a hamster. They don't do much. They stay in a little cage.
When you have 100 square feet to use, that 1 square foot is something, man. It's 1% of your stuff.
Speaking of pets, none of us here has any.
No.
No.
Is this a conversation?
Well, yeah, I do have.
You
I do
have a pet that you like neglect to see how long it could survive.
I just wanted to go away. We got two little fish. My mother-in-law brought them last year, exactly last
Animal
year. February.
activists, turn off the volume.
No. It's not. There's no cruelty here, man. It's just one of them died like a couple months later. The other one is still surviving a year later. You know,
I don't think fish are pet.
you don't consider it a pet. Well, it's an animal. It's in your house.
I consider it decoration.
Yeah, it could be very decorative. But are you having that discussion? Like your kids want dogs, cats, or I don't know what?
A kid wants a dog to play for two weeks, and then it becomes the parent's responsibility for 15 years.
And you get really attached, to a dog.
Well, because you take care of them.
My
What was it all for?
My cousins had one. They live downstairs, and it becomes a member of your family. Like that's what.
No,
it
but
is.
the parent has to accept that it's their dog to take care of.
For me, it's a no-no, guys. I'm too irresponsible. It's not fair to the dog. I love dogs. I love cats. I had a cat. Now it's my parents' cat.
Self-sufficient.
But but a dog is a lot of responsibility, and I'm irresponsible, and it's not fair to the dog. I'll repeat.
No, that's a very good point you're making, because most problems
I
with
love
dog
dogs.
owners is they're not
Yeah.
responsible enough, and they decide to go buy dogs.
Like, yeah, I'd be a bad dog owner, and
That-
it's not because I hate the dog.
No.
I love dogs.
And
It's
what
just
bad dog owners make use unnecessary suffering for an animal.
that's right.
No.
That's right. And I don't think my son is there. Every kid is there because it's cute and
It's
they can play.
fun.
It's what you said. It's what you said.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks of fun. And
2 weeks of fun
I'm
and
done.
then 15 years of responsibility for the parents.
The kid goes back to it. Hey, it's my dog. It's like, yeah, when was the last time you walked it? Doesn't matter. You bought it for me. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, but then it
So
becomes,
yeah, it's no.
But it becomes like a member of your family where it becomes just normal. You like the same way you come into a pattern
My
with
advice-
raising your children. It's like, okay, we got to take care of the dog now. Okay, I
Well,
gotta
a
go
dog,
take it
a
for
dog is
walk.
like a toddler. Never grows up. That's what it is.
But
It's
you
a
know what?
4-year-old boy.
If you're gonna get the pet to entertain yourself, it's the wrong reason. If you get the pet to start teaching your son
Responsibility.
maybe responsibility, how to be attached, how
Caring.
to how to care, then it's fine.
yeah,
And you
but-
start with turtles.
Look-
You don't start with
looking
Yeah,
outside of
that's what I was
yourself.
gonna say. You don't start with a dog.
you don't start with a golden retriever.
No.
You start with a turtle or a hamster.
Turtles.
George likes hamsters.
Turtles stink, man.
It's okay. Dogs too.
I know, but I think turtles stink more.
The fish stinks too, man. Trust me, I wash that bowl every couple
It's
days.
disgusting.
Jesus, man.
It's disgusting. We had goldfish. I think it was. Was it a 6-week experiment? Did it make it that long? I don't know.
I'm surprised that thing has stayed alive for over a year. It's a redfish. I don't think it's a goldfish. It's red, so obviously it's not goldfish. The other one though was I can't remember what the other one looked like.
Goldfish are red.
Aren't
They have a golden shimmer, but beneath it all they're red.
But this is like red. I don't know I don't think it's a goldfish.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. Cool. You guys are done?
You want to go back to talking about taking a crap? You're the expert.
I'm
You're
just
the
saying
expert.
that was a lot of conversation for a goldfish.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about pets. It's the only one we have in this room. I grew up with budgies.
Yeah, me too.
They woke me up every morning, but I liked them.
My dad would cover them
They're a little.
At night or during the day, you mean?
when they weren't behaving.
When they were behaving, put them in the dark. They were a little bit like erratic people, just like for every little thing they just go crazy.
That was an unbelievable impression, though.
Everything was like that. Every little thing would make them would trigger something.
Yeah.
They're a little erratic, but I liked having them in the house. But again, very messy.
So you went out yesterday for your birthday.
Yeah. We had a
Restaurant?
big steak. Restaurant, yeah. You want to know the name?
Yeah.
Well, I don't care. It doesn't really matter.
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge.
The one in
That's nice.
Candiac.
Good steak.
Great steak over there. Have you been to Candiac with me?
No, but I've been to Baton Rouge.
The one in Candiac is exceptionally good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You want to go there after? No, I have to go. I have to leave at 1:30. Sorry.
We have to be where?
Soccer.
Oh, you're driving?
Soccer.
You have to be at soccer at 1:30?
It's just soccer. It's just soccer all the time.
Chris's answer for everything is soccer.
Soccer. What are you doing? Soccer.
What did you think yesterday? Soccer.
There's so much soccer in today, and we're skipping a soccer event.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's still soccer.
How is that possible? How many things is he involved in? How many soccer federation
He
things?
plays with Panelinos, so that's his team, that's his league. He's also part of Puma. This is the team that goes to represent Canada in Barcelona, which we're going in April. Then there's La Liga.
Can I come?
Sure. His coach kind of calls him to help out.
La Liga?
Yeah. So all of these three have games. All of these three teams
Today?
have practices. No, I'm just saying that's what happens in the week, right? And then there's this other thing where we pay this coach to show him certain skills and like athletic stuff and skill and dribbling and on the personal stuff, right? Because the coach doesn't have the time to go through everything.
Right.
So that's a lot of soccer.
Hold on, I'm not so sure the camera's charged.
That is a lot of soccer.
It's a lot of soccer.
That is a lot of soccer. And I think the fact that you keep it in so many different places, that diversity, doesn't make him bored.
No.
Doesn't make him hate the same issues he's having with his team. Like, that guy's not pulling his weight, and I'm always overworking for him.
Yeah, he's getting exposed to a lot of
you
things.
You break away from that,
and
you feel better because you set up with another line mate who's better than that other guy.
Yeah.
You feel better, and then you set up with another line mate who's actually better than you, which drives you a little more.
Yeah.
So it's good that he doesn't get sick of it, because if you're always playing with the same team with the same issues, you never get over that.
Yeah. He's exposed to like 3-4 coaches.
But
so
it seems like it's a lot. It's
It
a
is a lot.
constant. These three are all year long.
pretty much.
Actually, we're taking a different approach with my son.
Pretty much. That's why I took him out of Taekwondo. But I want to start boxing.
We're doing right now. We added a third sport, but only because I want him to decide what he likes. I don't want to decide for him.
So he does Kung Fu?
Kung Fu, which he's been doing since he was 3. He does basketball. He's been doing since he was doing in the fall until December, which is going to start again now until June. Every Friday they're planning to schedule. And we're starting swimming next Sunday.
Okay, yeah, it's normal. Swimming is always part of it.
Yeah, I know, but those are 3. Like, the Kung Fu is 3 times a week. Basketball is once, and swimming is once. And once we introduced him to basketball, he cares less about Kung Fu. He I think it's like him saying, "I'm ready for the team dynamic."
He naturally gravitated to one.
Yeah, it's automatic.
it's
the
fine.
moment that he was introduced to it, he loves it.
That's
he
fine.
wants to practice it. He wants to play it.
That's amazing.
He has less interest in the other one, so I'm keeping him the other one because I don't want him to have regrets either. Maybe I'm waiting for the subscription to at least run out before I make a decision. Yeah. Well, he's gonna make a decision. I'm gonna help him make a decision.
I think you're doing it the right way.
And I know he's gonna love the swimming because he's always loved playing in the water and all that.
This is the old one, right?
Yeah. My younger one doesn't want to do anything outside of the house. He wants to do the kung fu exercise at home with me, but he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it in a group. He doesn't want to do it in
Is
a
he
class.
shy? He's not shy.
They're both very shy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
He's very
they're both
shy, and he doesn't like doing things under pressure. To him, doing things under the pressure is doing it under the wrong circumstances. It's not his thing. He doesn't thrive. Where my eldest, he's pretty good under pressure. It motivates him. It makes him realize the importance of things, and he values it.
Yeah.
You know, they're very different. But my younger one is very creative. I could leave him with 2 little figurines, and he'll play in 6 different rooms in the house for 2 hours straight by himself, and the whole time he's talking out a story between them. He loves storytelling.
Yeah.
He loves storytelling.
My daughter's like that.
Yeah.
It's totally independent when he's doing that. Otherwise, he constantly wants, company, help.
No, but do you see that is something that in school, the institution of school, right, academia,
doesn't dissect.
you don't get any of that there.
No, you get stuck being part of the whole picture.
So if that is his genius, his inside genius, he's never going to be able to hone it or develop it.
Well, it's up to me to keep that spark going after the school. You need the school.
You need the school. You need the school.
You need the math. You need the logic.
I believe
you need the social component. You need to
less
play.
of it.
You know what I found out this week from his daycare teacher? This is hilarious. I was relieved and scared at the same time. He loves to bring minimum 2 toys every day. It's usually 2 figurines, same size. Sometimes it's the big ones.
Do they allow that?
Yeah. I've been there forever.
Yeah.
It's a kid. It's daycare. It's not school, right? So they let the kid be comfortable. And every day he brings them, and he always says one is for his friend. Sometimes he asks me to bring a 3rd and 4th one. I usually don't because he's not very responsible. He tends to lose things. Like on Friday, he lost the 2 that he brought, gone. Maybe somebody took it home by mistake. I don't know. They usually show up slowly with time. And she told me his favorite thing is when he brings his toys in the morning, he tries to make them something that his friends want. So the whole class is competing for his toys. He creates this buzz. And then he decides who takes the toy, which creates status in the class. He decides who has the status in this class.
Get out. The boss.
You listening to this? He's
of
pulling the
course.
strings. He's saying who's going to be part of the crew, and he decides with these little trinkets.
Leadership.
But he has 2 kids that are bullies in his class. Okay, they're bigger than him.
So
one of them is bigger and stronger. So he could tell. So he's a little physical. He's smart enough to back off from the physical because he's not very confrontational that way. He is at home, but not with other kids. And there's another kid who's also, I guess, because of the other kid being so aggressive, his aggressiveness surfaces, I guess, as a defense mechanism, right? He's found this way, so they're all chasing him now.
Yeah.
Come on, and he decides who's the one who's gonna hold the power today.
Yeah, that's amazing that he hasn't thought of bringing them just because he wants to play at school, but just to use them.
He found better use. He found better use for
He
them.
found better use. He's created look, I'm the leader because you all want what I got, and I decide who's cool today. Haha, you're on my team today. So he's telling people you can join my team now. I'm the gorilla in charge. You could be on my team now because I handed you the baton.
Yeah, hey, it's interesting.
I was very relieved that he can control himself well in social situations, not lose his status because it's important. We all have our measuring sticks, right? But I was also worried that I don't want him to hurt people that way either. Don't leave good people behind.
Yeah.
But I was relieved I don't have to worry about him.
You like that.
I like that he found his own way, man.
But wait.
That he
When
thought
the
about
teacher said it, right? When the teacher gave you the news,
Yeah.
what was the tone? You should worry about this, or I'm really proud of him.
In her,
Yeah. Her.
she's saying it like that's his favorite thing, making his friends want his
But
toys.
is she happy?
She was saying
happy.
how
Okay,
cute
good.
it is.
She saw it
how clever he is.
She saw it as a good thing.
A sign
okay.
of intelligence,
Yeah,
basically.
good. George, what are you doing?
I'm just not sure the battery is charging, and I don't want the video to.
It's fine.
Technical difficulty.
It's fine.
It's a little embarrassing.
But yeah, I'm starting to think. I'm not talking down on academia. I'm just kind of talking up on other skills. And I'm starting to think that school doesn't give everything. And you know what? There's a big
Well,
portion.
hold on. Which part? Were you talking the education part?
I'm not talking. I'm saying that
As I'm growing older, I tend to value the social component more. To help you position yourself.
You know the bigger words, like the determination, the commitment, perseverance, all those words. I find I think when I see Erasmo play, when I see him in the soccer team, when I see the commitment, when I see the synergy, the teamwork, I find there's more value there. I find school with the arithmetic and the technical knowledge is good, but
you know what?
it should be rearranged. It should be a 60-40.
Yeah.
It can't be just 100%.
Well, that's because you want the grade.
No, I never cared about grades.
I think school is just to be passed. You just got to pass. I always felt that way.
I think that standardizing that is wrong.
I think you just gotta like the kid. He. I don't think he's ready to decide what kind of direction he wants to take until he's like 18 years old.
No, but I just don't think that's all that matters. What schools teach now? You need it. You need to write. You need to read. You need to do your division. You need to learn how to share. You need to know.
You need to think.
You need to think, but that's not all.
No. Of course, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you.
That's 60%.
Like, I mean,
there's another 40% that is like it's 40% meaning that you don't get it from school. You get it from sports.
What's the oldest adage? One of the oldest adages. It's not what you know. It's always who you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that social component, it's always going to be there. It's always going to. You got to. If you're not strong in that, it won't. It can work against you.
Yeah, but I'm not only talking about the social component.
Well, the sports teams is part of it too.
I'll give you an example. What you said about your kid.
Yeah.
All right. He was able to figure that out.
Yeah.
Now you're going to tell me, yeah, it isn't in a school setting. I get it. It's in a school setting.
Group setting. It's just
in a group setting.
It's a peer group. That's all it is. You're amongst your peers. You're practicing your skills on your peers, man.
Maybe I'm not expressing myself the right way.
No, but I mean, look.
What I'm trying to say is that what I've seen from academia and sports.
Yeah,
I think sports teaches better values, principles of living that are going to be more helpful than just the technical school part.
I'm agreeing with you. Just so I can clarify myself. I was gonna get to this. The sports component, it's a team component, and again, team is a peer thing.
But not only team.
No, I know.
It's beating yourself, being
challenging yourself, but for other people's benefit.
Yeah, for a whole team's benefit. Self-awareness, how you are, how you grow, how to listen.
When you pull through for your friends, they appreciate you. They rise you. It's part of the
subordination.
It's part of the peer support thing.
Another thing I see a lot of the kids, they're not able to take instruction. And you know what? If you guys have looked at leadership, those
kids need kung fu because it's an individual effort.
Yeah, but that's the discipline part. But at the same time, if you're not able to follow instruction well, you can never lead well. So you know what I mean?
But I mean, if you can't follow instruction, the team setting is not always the best option because you're delaying everybody else.
Well, unless
they resent you more.
Unless that's the setting where you can learn it. But I think that there's the combination of both that is also necessary. You know what I mean? I mean, if you're focusing
the thing
too
is,
much...
the class is good in the same way because a class really replicates like a school. The classroom replicates a kung fu class. So you have a group setting. So you have certain things about being in a group you have to manage. So keep your mouth shut. Mm-hmm. Everybody needs to listen. You have an instructor that you're following. You have a peer who you can take an example for if you're not sure, and the effort is individual. You're not hurting anybody else if you're not doing well.
Yeah, that's the setting. Yeah.
And that's exactly what a school is, which is you need that because for all these reasons we just said, but you need the sport and the team for all this other stuff. And I think it's the peer setting. That peer, you're doing well for you, but when it rewards the team, they rise you. It gives you status, and it's a social.
Reward yourself, but the team gets rewarded as well,
and that rises you socially within the group.
So, are you saying that the kids that are homeschooled have a disadvantage? Do you know any kids that have been homeschooled?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
They're going through it right now.
But I know it's very, very, very popular. It's becoming very popular.
Look,
homeschooling is something that's homeschooling is the future, guys.
It's the future because it takes away, it takes away bullying, I guess. It takes away losing friends, but you're not necessarily making friends.
Aren't those things part of the experiences that are going to shape you, like how to deal with rejection, how to deal with a bully, how to deal with, I don't know, anything.
It doesn't. Because today it doesn't. You're right if you let kids deal with the situation themselves. That's not what happens today.
No.
Today, people step in and figure it out for the kids. So there's no lesson there.
No, not necessarily.
You punish the bully. Yeah,
look, my kids aren't in school yet, but I imagine, eventually they're going to go play out in the courtyard or whatever. There's not always going to be someone then to intervene and to kind of guide them to a certain path, right? I mean, they're going to develop certain reflexes, and they're going to learn from either experiences, from other losses, or gains, or whatever it is that they're going to learn during the whole day. But if you're in a setting at home with a mom or a dad teaching you, or a private instructor, or whatever it is, and you're alone,
you become awkward.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, Alexander the Great. Yeah, could be. But all I'm saying is that if you let kids grow the way they needed to grow, they would figure certain things out by themselves.
Yeah, independence.
And what parents do today, and that's what they call bulldozing parents or helicopter parents, because it's like we're trying to protect everything. What happens is we don't help the kids. We help them so much that we're not helping them. So the idea
we're breaking down every little move they make and telling them to go back and fix it.
No, they're always looking for, okay, who's going to fix my problem? I have a problem. Who's going to fix it? Where's the parent? Where's the teacher? They're always looking for an adult to figure out their problem. That's not the way you got to do it.
No.
In the lane, let's say we're playing in the lane, right? Back in the 80s, in the lane. Your mom and your dad weren't there all the time.
They weren't there.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you figured a way to do the right thing, whether it was a fight, an altercation, whatever it was, but you figure out a certain way, and you became friends, and then you were enemies, and then you were friends again, and then you figure out your position in the lane, in that society. You knew what the hierarchy was because there were older people that were maybe more dangerous.
Yeah.
You knew you had to take care of the little one because, hey, he's a little more vulnerable. You see, there's no one there to teach you that, but you teach that. Today, parents and teachers intervene way too much, so you don't get the development process.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And in the soccer field, you know what? You get more of that. You learn things different. I'm not saying soccer. It could be any sport.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, guys, first of all, in an 8-hour day, why not have an hour of gym? Why not have 2 hours of gym? Isn't nutrition and wellness and
what
fitness,
is it now? What do they have?
Nothing. They have 10 minutes, then 20 minutes.
It's a 7-day schedule, and gym is, I think, twice.
Guys, it's nothing. It's nothing.
But
shouldn't they know about their food? Shouldn't they know about nutrition? Shouldn't
they teach that? No.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Trust me.
They did for us.
There's way too much information on things
groups
we
and all
don't
that.
need to learn. There's too much. I'm telling you. And the way they do math, guys, you know how they learn division today?
No.
With a calculator.
No, that's fine. Calculator is fine. You should be able to do a long division in, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. A long one, 25 seconds. The way they're teaching them now, it might take 7 minutes. I'm serious.
How so?
But maybe that's just the beginning. Maybe it's just
that is just crazy.
How so?
Because they have to break things into groups, and then it's all these. Like next time, I'll just bring an example, and we'll do it together. And I'm going to time you, and then I'm going to time you.
It's less flowing.
They have to make little circles and little balls and group things into little things, and then bigger groups, and it's useless. I'm just telling you, too many experts around this field, too many people on the high level that haven't been in a class for a really long time calling the shots, and that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. All I'm saying is and I'm not saying this to shit on academics and schools. I'm just saying they have to change. The world is changing, and these people are 90 years behind. Technology is so ahead and education is so behind that we're losing our kids' education to technology. Your kid is going to learn more by watching 17 YouTube videos than listening to a school teacher which doesn't understand anything. All I'm saying is that. I'm not saying eradicate one. I'm just saying that has to morph into something different. It has to change. It has to reform.
Honestly,
look, my kid's school is a lot different than my school. The way the setting and the class are just
it's a little bit better.
No, go ahead.
I find it's more open, the concept. It's more, you listen to the teacher, we come in, we sit in the front, she puts something, there's a screen, she has her computer, she does some interactive stuff, she lets them express themselves.
Good.
They sit on the floor around her, she sits there with them too, they get turns. It's they feel very free to express themselves. Where us, it was just 30 desks facing the same direction, and the kid who moved less was rewarded.
Yeah,
so
there is improvement.
There is improvement.
Yeah. And I'm just saying
they're not all the same.
No, I know. But you understand what I'm saying, where it needs to change a little bit.
It needs to change a little bit, but as long as it's done in small changes at a time, because they could go the wrong direction also.
Yeah. And there's you always need the.
I'm gonna tell you when I visit my son's class, and they describe, and I've seen my son in class, like on his first day of grade 1, we all went, and the parents were sitting, and the kids were in the front, and I remember I thought back to my first day of grade 1, and it was so negative, uncomfortable. I felt I could so screw up and get punished for this, and then I look at them. They felt so relaxed and at ease. It seems like they would have absorbed information better under those circumstances than ours.
Yeah,
you know.
The other, yeah.
If you're lacking discipline, you can't learn basically the way it was.
Discipline is a word that's been trivialized today, and it's almost has no value. And I think it's probably the most valuable word after attitude. For me, it's attitude and discipline. If you're able to really, really master those two words, I think you can have everything you want in life. But today, those are not very important. But that's another thing. What I want to say is that I'm trying to get involved in this kind of thing, like education.
Their desks are like desks of 5 people. It's a table of 5 people.
What I'm saying is that we've been, ever since the industrial age, the school system is an industrial idea. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Quick.
It's a corporate idea.
I'd say industrial. Corporate came later, but yeah, let's say
it's designed to fill those seats in the corporate world.
That's right, and go very, very quick and just put out workers quick. So
get the corporate people up fast.
Right. So it's very based on academic intelligence. We know today that there's more than academic intelligence, right? Not everybody needs to be smart in math.
Our resourceful human being is more than just an academic intelligence.
So
person.
if you look what the experts are saying, which there's physical intelligence, the people that are able to do sports well, right? There's artistic intelligence for the musicians and the dancers. There's financial intelligence. There's so many emotional intelligence. There's so many forms. So what I'm saying is that the whole system is based to reward only the person who does well in the academic intelligence. Yeah. That has to change as well.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's interesting what you're saying.
I agree with you.
But, now there's all these alternative schools, right? There's
all schools and
also to your point, we'll go back to you just 1 second. To your point, a well-rounded human being encompasses everything, not just the academic.
That's right.
The behavioral, the discipline, the logical, the rational. It's not all academic. And then you could be very strong academically and not okay in so many other ways.
But think about the kid who's a little bit more artistic, right? And I'm saying this because there's a little artistic vein in me as well. Yeah. I didn't go that path. I still do it part-time, but I didn't decide to make it my career. Yeah. But let's say there's a kid with an artistic vein, and their academic side, the intellectual side, is maybe not 100% there. This kid will go through school thinking he's a failure.
Yep.
Won't be able to thrive in academics, and he's gonna think that
the moment he can get out of it, he's gonna take his chance.
Well, what I'm saying is, it's like, hey, let's incorporate a little bit more of that.
It forces you out because you don't fit the mold.
That's right.
Yeah,
and then you have parents that are just obsessed with grades.
Yeah,
just obsessed with grades, which mean nothing.
Well, they came through the same thing, so they think that's the only thing that matters, right?
Yeah, but think about it. Us, right? That's what I'm saying. We got to think a little different. We got to be smarter than what we think we are. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we were brought up by a certain educational system,
filter,
right? And now we're trying to teach our kids the same way. But that was 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah, but again, it's not because we believe in the system. It's because we want them to succeed.
Yeah, I know, but the precepts are different now. It's a different world. Uh-huh. That's what I'm trying to say with my parents too. Think about it. Your parents were probably similar, but it was like, I'm either going to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, and an accountant. Everything else doesn't exist. Yeah. Like those are the main things. Yeah. So what are they thinking? And I say this often, but think about it. My parents did great. Good for them. And I love them. But they pushed me in a structured way of living that would give me the result that they never had. Yeah. right? They never got that opportunity to have the result, so they pushed that result onto me.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was a plus, right? There was an advantage because
It's
you
a plus.
become better than...
It's a plus, but it could also be a bad negative, man.
Look, I just want to go back to the grades, the grade system that you were talking about.
You know what? It's also what they were told gets your kid out of the working class. Gets your kid out of a blue collar. That's the way out of a blue collar. So they figured they're rescuing you. It's not their fault.
It's gonna
I didn't say there's their fault.
Yeah, no, they did what they could with what they knew. But to go back to the grade system, parents are so obsessed with their kids having good grades, and there's much more to that. But at the same time, when you think of it, I think it's related to that whole discipline thing that you were talking about. Get your kid to concentrate on studying. It's boring, it's frustrating, yes, but at the same time, you're going to benefit the results by getting a good grade.
That's the problem. I think it's the exact opposite of that, George.
Me too.
I'll tell you why. I teach college, and I teach people the difference between learning and passing a test. Those are two different things. You can study and pass a test and not know anything.
Forget everything. Yeah.
And then you can study and learn and maybe not pass the test, but
get the concept.
But you got the concepts.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's more important. If it were up to me, I know it's not my decision.
It's the underlying philosophy.
No, but I wouldn't give tests, because what is a test? A test is I'm testing your knowledge today with what you've studied and what I thought of questions. Those are the questions I chose today to put on the test, and maybe you missed that chapter or maybe you didn't. But I'm kind of testing you in a specific time.
It's not fair to the potential.
Well, that's right. It doesn't mean much. I care about learning. I care about you understanding. I care about you opening your mind and getting the information and be critical about it and adding onto it. Sorry, not adding up, adding onto it. And then what you do is you put a pile and a pile and a pile, and all that pile then becomes your information. It becomes your knowledge of this issue. I don't care if you missed because you didn't know what a PSI was, or you did a wrong calculation. You know what? Even if you do a wrong calculation in my test, I give you full points. If you got the steps,
the formula.
And I think that's very important. And I still see people in college today that are stressed about writing an exam. That's because that has been pushed.
Yeah.
We've been taught to stress about an exam. Who cares? Don't stress.
But it's interesting because you see now there's more and more of those alternative schools that are being developed.
I think it's great.
Yeah, and they're being funded also by the government. Like they seem to be kind of creating like a sort of parallel path to whatever education system exists now. But the interesting thing for me is, what happens when they reach that higher level of education where that, like the CGIPs and the universities are still very much concentrated on performance, grades, or else you fail or you pass, and you have kids coming in the system that are from the other
young adults,
guys.
Young
adults. All that is changing. Number one, let me just.
Well, the young adults could handle that better than a 6 to 15.
No, because what I'm saying is that you're going into a system now where you've been conditioned not to worry so much about the grades and worry about the learning process, and you have all these alternative measures of teaching that you were put through. But now you're entering a school where this is how it works now.
I have two answers. The first thing. The first thing is this. I don't like when we conflate education with training. To me, they're two separate things. Going to university for 4 years doesn't mean you're educated. It means you're trained to do what you went. If you did accounting for 4 years, you're trained to do accounting. You're not educated. Education has nothing to do with training. I think these are the two different things. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, what's happening now is that people are understanding that you don't need diplomas. Well, it's coming. It's coming. A lot of people are hiring people with no diplomas. A lot of people are thinking now, experience. What have you done? What are you able to do? Let's see what you're able to do, and I can work with this. So, school, I think it's gonna transform, guys. We spoke about all schools, right? Mm-hmm. The whole education system is gonna change, and it has to change because it's never gonna catch up to technology. It's already behind, and there's a lot of work to be done, and I think it's fine. And I'm not shitting on education. I went to university. I did the whole thing. I did the right thing.
Yeah.
But I see it now. I see how sometimes I see the people with the diplomas and the 45 initials after the names, and that don't do much. And I know the people that just say, "Hey, I really want to work. I want to learn this." And you know what? Full capacity, and they could go on and thrive.
I'm gonna tell you. a lot of people, because of the previously existing way that we went through, the way it was managed and the way it made students think and feel about the whole picture, scared people from going to university because they figured it was this but worse, which in fact it was. But if you were trying to run away from it and you never really learned how to do it properly, you're like, forget that, I'm not going there. I'm just going to go to the workforce or go learn a technical trade or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's the idea of school is not for me, right?
But if you enjoy it with this new way of doing things, I think when it's time to be a young adult and say, okay, now it's your choice to go to university and buckle down and really focus a little harder on books and less on playing and less on sports, and you make a choice, I think because it hasn't scared you, a lot of people are going to succeed better, you know?
But
a lot of people, it leaves a bad taste in their mouth to feel like you're not adequate enough because this is not structured really for you, you know?
But also the corporate world, you know, there's going to be a problem because I think that the corporate world is still very much incorporated into the
old guard.
Yeah, you know, it's like okay,
3-piece suits in the middle of the summer.
Not only that,
No,
I mean, can you imagine an engineering firm hiring someone that doesn't have an engineering diploma?
Absolutely. The best engineers didn't come from schooling. Edison wasn't schooled. Tesla wasn't schooled.
Yeah, but it's a different time. Chris.
It's not a different time.
Technology has advanced. There's certain
You
like
see, that's the misnomer, man.
Intelligence is.
How are you going to go build a bridge if you don't understand how, you know, those dynamics in that engineering works?
Spend 2 years with a person building bridges, and trust me, you'll be able to build a bridge.
That's true.
2 years. You don't need 17 years of engineering. Trust
that would scare me to know that someone is building a bridge or a highway.
That's a different story.
He's saying it's not about rewriting the book. It's grasping what the book's trying to show.
What I'm trying to say is, do you think the corporate world is going to come to that level where it's going to be a norm and accepted to just hire people that
it already has? It started.
You know what?
Google started actually.
But in the scientific fields,
yeah, Google hires engineers that are not.
Okay, so let's talk about this.
Not trained as engineers.
Would you go to a hospital and be seen by a doctor that doesn't have a medical degree?
See, the medical degree is all it does is to make you feel comfortable. It doesn't say nothing about his competence. There's people that have degrees that are incompetent, and there's people that don't have degrees that are very competent.
Also,
it's all about you feeling good.
No, because because it's going back to what you were saying before, where you have, you know, I don't know how many degrees you have in accounting. You just know how to be an accountant. But you know what? If I want to go to the hospital and I want to be seen by a doctor, I don't care that he doesn't know anything about, I don't know, farming or anything else, but that he's the best at
I don't mean
medicine.
that. No. You can have a doctor that's been trained with another doctor and be able to do exactly what he needs to do. What I'm saying is this. Do you believe that there's accountants with degrees that make mistakes?
Of course.
All right, so the diploma means nothing.
No, it's just because mistakes is a human nature. You're going to make mistakes.
You know what diploma means? The diploma says this. This person went for 4 years, has this many credits, and completed.
Yeah, it certifies that you've been through whatever system and you're an accountant.
He has the.
But at the same time, I feel like.
Who invented the plane? The Wright brothers.
Yeah, well.
2 guys.
They're credited for it.
Well, no, they're the guys.
Well, you can go back to mythology and credit Icarus and Daedalus, you know?
When the Wright brothers were developing the plane, there was another side where they had funded a couple of engineers and scientists to do the same thing and beat them. And you know who won? The Wright brothers. No education, very little knowledge,
passion.
But they did it.
Yeah,
just to show.
To your point about hospitals, I'm going to just say what helps patients heal better is usually better nurses, and they don't have a diploma, and they know hell of a lot.
No, but to go back to the airplane, I mean, they succeeded after so many trial and errors, right? Trials and errors. Imagine going to a doctor, and he's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna try this today."
They do.
No, but
they try a lot of things.
I'm not saying go to a doctor that's not trained to do surgery. I'm saying the doctor doesn't need to be in an institution. He can learn from another surgeon.
Doctor, yeah, exactly.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that would scare me personally.
I'm just saying, I think people, look, guys.
No, you can be taught the information that he's talking about on the field from somebody who practices it. When you
don't believe in coaching and mentoring.
That's a huge societal change, though.
When you align the practical with the information, when you see it side by side, it's easier to relate it to real life, man.
Guys,
to useful.
Guys,
it's more useful that way.
80% of people are not in the right field. and they don't feel like they're in the right field.
Yeah.
And
it's probably more.
I just want to give this piece of information that I learned, and I think it's probably more. You're right. That I learned, and I think it's amazing, and I teach it. So I didn't steal it, but I got inspired by it, and I teach it. I read it in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great, and I teach it in every class I do. And it's simple. And if you're able to do this, or at least think about this principle, I think you can have a little bit more success in your life. And it has nothing to do with what you want to do. You could be an accountant, you could be whatever you want. A doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, whatever. It's three simple things. Number one, you have to do something you're passionate about. And I don't mean passion like just passion. You have to be passionate about it. You have to like what you're doing. It has to inspire you.
You have to care for its evolution.
You have to exactly. You have to care about it. That's number one. But that's not enough. Some people just say, "Oh, it's my passion. Let me just go do that." Whoa, there's three components. Passion is one. The other thing is you have to be good at it. So a passion is one thing, but you have to be in the top maybe 5, I'll say 10%, 5 to 10% of the people. So you have to be good at that, meaning discipline. This is where discipline comes in. Commitment, being good, practicing it. So being good. And then the third component is it has to give you money. You might not like money. People might say money's like, no. Everywhere you go, people ask you for it. Money's important. Yeah. Figure that out. Right? So the three put together will give you a better life. Or at least more chance to success. So what is it? It's passion, be good at it, and it has to give you some kind of reward, monetary reward.
And you're saying that the majority of the people just focus on obviously the financial thing. Okay, there's good money with this job or that field, and they follow that path, but they don't necessarily have the passion, or they're not necessarily good at it.
Exactly. So you need all three, and you know what? Schools have to kind of give you a direction in that. So I'm going back to school. So when everything's academic, a person that has, I don't know, I'll bring back the artistic side. A person that has more of an artistic side, he can't thrive in that environment. He'll never get the right components. He's never going to get the right material to move forward. He's always going to be stumped, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So now, look, the sports industry has understood something very, 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 very important and has understood it a long time ago. Coaching and mentoring. Guys, it's very, very important. The business world now understands it. So you have people that want to be millionaires or whatever. They have coaches. People understand that the power of coaching, the power of having a mentor. I spoke about Alexander the Great before, where Alexander the Great had Aristotle. Aristotle in the time wasn't just a philosopher. A philosopher in ancient Greece wasn't just philosophy. These guys knew a lot of stuff. They were able to understand all the different disciplines and the different facets of life, and they were able to give you advice.
History, science.
Everything. And that will give you more success. So I think the world is coming back to that, and I think it is morphing. And you're talking about a societal change. Yeah, we need a societal
stronger
change,
culture.
guys. Right? Agricultural age, industrial age, information age, well, question mark for the next one. But there's something. And we're preparing it now.
Look, I definitely feel, and I saw that going into university, where I thought, actually going through CGIP, that's where you were going to develop, an idea of what you wanted to do, and then going to university.
Waste.
No, I don't think it's a waste. I just think that the way I had understood it was that you're going to take 2 years in this establishment and you're going to figure out what you want to do so that when you go into university, you're going to be in a field that interests you and that you want to evolve in, right? I didn't get that. I didn't feel that. So I went into university like thousands of other kids, not knowing what I was doing. Really, not knowing. So
you're not the only one.
Of course not. I'm not the only one. And I agree with you. There's a majority of the kids and the adults that go into the system, they go in completely lost. They come out because they feel the pressure of accomplishing that degree in 3 or 4 years or whatever the time is, and then they come out and think, damn, that's not what I wanted. And then there's that debate that happens in their mind: do I go back into another field, or I don't want to lose that time, let me just go into the workforce with whatever I studied.
That's a travesty, man.
Yeah, and then they're stuck. And then I've said this on a different podcast. I don't remember, but I believe that too. I believe most people, they'll work hard enough, right, not to get fired, and they'll get paid just enough not to quit. Yeah. And that balance is called mediocrity.
It's called the rut.
Right?
Stuck in a rut.
Yeah, you're in that rut. Yeah. And then you know what? You're like, oh man, I think I'm doing right. Well, I need this job.
It's the fear.
I can't go to school
It's
again.
also the fear of extending beyond your comfort zone.
Yeah. So what happened to the magic of part-time? Why can't you keep working at a job that needs to pay the bills, but work on something on the side, right? Develop another skill. Maybe start your own business, a side business, start tutoring, start coaching, whatever you're going to do. I'm just saying, it's like there's so many options today, and I still see people struggling with things like that.
The proof that it's flawed is that people go through everything George just described, and after they made this big decision and went through it because of all these added pressures, because you're losing years of your life here. You did it all wrong. You're unhappy. You're not where you should be positioned, where this is supposed to put you in the right position.
Well, that's why I'm very conscious of this. And we spoke about awareness. That's how we started the conversation. Yeah. Awareness and being conscious, right? Conscientiousness, I think Jordan Peterson calls it. All right? So with Gerasimo, with my kid, that's just to bring it back to parenting, I don't ask him, what do you want to be when you grow up? I ask him questions, and he can't answer yet, but I ask him questions like, who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? What kind of person?
What do you see?
No, but you want to lead? You want to do this? What kind of person? I find asking somebody, what do you want to be as a profession, is limiting everything in that person's ability to do and excel in life. Yeah. We should, as parents, we should never ask, what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And who are you? What are you good at? Yeah. What do you hate doing? What do you like doing? Let me ask you, how do you learn? Do you hate? These are the questions. And then, you know what? As a parent, you got to guide and say, hey, man, you're really strong here. And there used to be this kind of mentality or culture where, oh, you're weak here, George. You got to get lessons here. You got to read. No, that's wrong. If you're strong somewhere, you get more lessons to become even stronger there. You don't need to make every weakness a strength. That is wrong.
Yeah.
That is wrong. So it's the questions we ask. And you know what? Everybody, look, even in the books we read, hey, what do you want to be? I want to be a policeman. I want to be a firefighter. I want to be this. No, man. Start teaching kids to-do lists, not to-do lists,
but at the same time,
to-be lists.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that the infrastructure isn't there either. And it's funny that we're talking about this now because a friend of mine, they went this morning, with their kid. It's like this art étude, it's like
what is that?
It's like an art studies school. So their actual school actually suggested that, look, we're partnered with this other school in the same school commission, and it's focused on kids that have more of an artistic leaning. Maybe you should try it out, blah, blah, blah. So they went and checked it out, and the kid was interested. They went on one of those information sessions, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. If he likes it, why not, take a look at it. And he goes, yeah, we got to wake up early today, actually, because he has an audition. I'm like, okay. And he's like, it's going to last 2 hours. I'm like, what do you mean 2 hours?
No.
Which kid is going to last through a 2-hour audition? Yeah. So what happens if, whoever it is that are looking into, these auditions, they're going to grade the kid on, I don't know what grounds. Let's say, for example, they refuse him because 2 hours. Which kid has an attention span of 2 hours?
What kind of audition is it? Is it an interview?
No, it's there's an interview, and then there's like a written thing, and then there's like a musical audition. I think he's gonna play the violin. Then there's a singing.
Guys, that is not okay.
Isn't that crazy?
We do understand that an audition or interview is a filter.
That's not so bad.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I'm just thinking it's that 2 hours is huge.
It's a filtering process.
It's a filtering process. That's fine.
It's like, you know what? We'll try 500, and you know what? We're gonna put our effort on the top 50 because that's what we want to do.
I'm just happy that they haven't really taken it that serious. They're like, look, whatever happens. The kid likes it. If it goes through, we'll just ride that wave. If it happens. And I like that kind of attitude, because if they were so focused on having their kid in that school, but 2 hours, I can't even last 2 hours. Imagine an 8-year-old kid. Are you kidding?
The reality is that every parent wants the best for their kid, but no parent really understands that sometimes they're the obstacle.
Well, that's because back to the beginning of the conversation.
Of course. That's why the beginning is very important.
We have to start questioning our reflexes and our instincts. Why did I Why did I take that decision in that moment? Yeah, why did I have that reflex?
And why do I think like this?
Why? And you have to, and it goes back to your point where let's work on your strengths rather than point out your weaknesses so you can feel like shit.
I'm very interested to see how
it's a reflex. I'm sorry, because we've all come through that same system, and we've developed these reflexes to do the common, which is probably an error, to work on those weaknesses all the time instead of and ignoring the strengths while you're doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
and you know what?
And it's because of that system has created these reflexes to us.
And
us.
and like, look, obviously, all your experiences, everything you've learned, everything you've heard, everything you've seen, builds your filter. And then all the information that comes in, you filter that information through the filter that you've built.
Yeah.
Right? And every parent has a different filter. Every person has a different filter. But when you start seeing, because think about it, there's no right and wrong, right? There's no right and wrong. No. But there's like, if I do something, does it support what I'm doing? So a lot of parents, sometimes it's like they want to push their kid to do certain things, but it doesn't really support what they really want, right? They think it does. And that's why I'm saying sometimes that obstacle is the parent. A lot of times when parents want to give too much and they want to do too much, it's like sometimes
they paint a confusing picture.
That's the obstacle.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, as a parent,
you got a guide.
Yeah, as a parent, though, I can, and I'm obviously living proof of it. It's very difficult to judge in your mind if you are an obstacle or if you're doing it because you want your kid to excel or you want to challenge.
You're
your
always
kids,
both.
Or,
It doesn't matter. I'll give you an example.
I think you're always both. It's about managing.
Whether your child you think likes it or not, whatever you're putting, your child through. In your head, you're thinking, you know what? Let me push him. If he doesn't like it, maybe we'll take a decision. But at least I want him to progress, or I want him to learn some discipline. Like I put my daughter in karate because I thought it's gonna be nice to discipline. Then I realized that at 2 years old, dude, she
didn't have the attention span.
Yeah. We also have to be very careful. I'll give you an example. We have to be very, very careful. And this is maybe it kind of manifests a little bit more clearly when we're older. But I'll give you an example. My mom. Great mom, big heart, love. She's given me so much, and my dad too. But I'll give you an example. I got to a point where I wanted to do different things in my life, so I took different risks, right? And I wanted to make a certain amount of money. Call it whatever. Call it X, which was a lot of money in my mind.
Yeah.
Now my mom worked a job, never made more than $1,200 a month. How is she going to give me the right advice for me to go and get what I want?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you see where the disconnect is? And we have to be conscious of that, because if your kid wants to get a certain result,
you're the obstacle.
You could be the obstacle if you're giving the advice when you're so far from that result.
I understand, but inversely, if you think of it the other way, because your parents didn't know much more than they did, and they pushed you and they forced you, even though you probably didn't like it or whatever, maybe it forged a certain character trait in you to develop the instinct that you have now to say, you know what, I'm going to go that way. I'm going to do, like, you know what, you have that intellect.
You're talking about the basics.
I don't know about that.
The fundamentals.
I don't know.
Not
about
only
that.
fundamentals. I'm just thinking that maybe the way your parents raised you, even though it wasn't the right way, because that's all they knew at that point in time, it forged your character. It pushed you to develop yourself in a way where now you have that capacity to take those risks.
What you're saying is that old school lessons of hard work, focus, commitment, responsibility will never get old. That'll never get old. So them teaching him that, it's always been a good thing to teach people. He's just taking that to this modern world.
Yeah.
This is where his mom has a speech. She can't help him in the modern world.
I'm just thinking,
but those are fundamentals forever.
Yeah, no, but look, I'm just thinking that because we have that mindset that we have now, where we're a bit more lenient with our kids, we want to do things differently than our parents. Our kids going to become weaker? You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, it could be a philosophical conversation, but just to sum it up. From here to here is fundamentals. They never change. What you just said, they never change. These are the values and the principles of living. This is the shared.
This is the individual in a family, in a society.
That's right. This is what you do. Then after that, the sky's the limit after that.
Yeah.
So if you keep listening to everything your parents tell you, or your peers, or your group, you can maybe go here. If you want to go here, you got to adopt a different mentality. It's a different mindset. So what I'm saying is that if you keep listening, that's when the advice becomes an obstacle, because they're still here. They're operating from here.
Yeah.
And it depends. It could be in sports, it could be in success, it could be whatever it is. I'm just saying we have to be, I think we're smart enough today to be aware of the advice we give our kids. I stopped saying things like, you should, this is how it is. I try to learn as much. And sometimes it's like we're hard-headed, we're stubborn with certain things, and you know what? Maybe we're not doing the right thing. That's all it is.
I do say I would.
I would is a good one. I say that a lot. I would do that.
A lot.
And why? You know?
Yeah, I thought I try to say, you decide, but I think I would have done it.
You're also, George, your kids are also a little bit younger, so you haven't got it in that psychology.
I'm still in the don't do this, just because I know that if you do it, you're
still here, man. You're building this.
You're gonna destroy the house, or you're gonna destroy your head, or something's gonna break in your body. You know what I mean?
Oh, you stay there for a while, but you also touch the changing perspective and the questioning of everything. It slowly gets introduced alongside with that. The end of that is timed with the new concepts of life, of the world,
Yeah. So basically, the old world, well, let's say our parents' generation was, think about it, 90% was discipline. You had to be disciplined, right? Everything was discipline.
Without discipline,
Everything was
you
about
died.
that. Yeah. So the 10% was like, okay, ambition, the bigger words, right? Ambition and do this and vision. And today, though, 90% is vision and ambition and 10% discipline, and that definitely won't work.
No one's accountable.
That will definitely not work. Yep. Maybe the mix is 50-50, maybe the mix is 60-40. I know the mix 90%.
Those values that we're describing, this part, this is the values that you develop, that if this is the values that people judge you and like you. If they don't like you, you're out.
Yeah.
You need that. You need to be liked by people. You need to be accepted by people. You need people to enjoy your company.
Yeah.
If you're not pleasant, if you're not fair, if you're not all these things, you're not going to be very successful. Yeah. You need like a strong a strong network, I guess. You need people to support you, not to be against you. And these fundamentals give you the tools. And like you said, the sky's the limit. Once you're likable, once you know how to adapt.
Yeah, the basics.
Once you could position yourself and you know what? Maybe I should shut my mouth now.
That's right. No, but fix the foundation.
Maybe I should speak up now.
Fix the foundation and then fly later. Don't start flying if the foundation
Along
is
with
not
those
there.
fundamentals, the one component that gets forgotten is teaching confidence.
Yeah, but where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from one thing: competence. If you don't feel competent, you can't be confident. And if you feel confident, you know you're phony.
But you can teach all these fundamentals with teaching inadequacy also.
Yeah.
I should respect because I'm stupid enough. I'm too stupid. I should shut my mouth because I'm too stupid.
That's right.
I shouldn't talk in this moment because I'm too stupid.
That's right.
It teaches discipline. It teaches these, but you lost that whole other confidence and competence.
And that comes into hierarchy. And like when you enter a meeting, right? And there's a couple of people. I'll give you a generic example. There's people that have been doing something for 40, 50 years, right? 30, 40 years experience. And there's a newcomer that comes in and he wants to be heard on the spot. It's like
he didn't buy his time.
Not exactly.
Yeah,
not
he didn't
yet.
choose his moment.
You know what?
Because he's overly confident.
You're still at the 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yeah. There's 2 ears, right? So that's the order. Keep doing that for a little bit, and then the input.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But when you teach confidence too quickly, and it's not based on merit, then you get delusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And delusion is not good because now you think you're going to give people with 40 years experience, you can tell them what to do.
That's when you are your own limit in the sky.
That's right. Yeah. But at the same time, with all the changes happening right now, you have a situation where those people that have that 40-year experience, they think they know it all, when in reality, that newcomer
that's true.
That has the information to kind of bring you to the next level, and you're blocking it out, right?
That's why you're right.
Because it becomes they're hard-headed. They're like, no, I have 40 years of baggage. You know what I mean, where do you come from?
I always say to you guys, I never discredit completely the new generation, because after I go, they're staying.
Yeah, and they're 100% of the future.
And they're 100% of the future. Yeah. And I've always embraced technology. It's just who I am. I'm not gonna the most high tech guy, but I'll never talk against evolving. You know, in that regard. So this is where these people you're talking about, it's their philosophy that's flawed. It's not their experience.
But the thing is that the advancement has happened so quickly that there's this disconnect, right, between the people that are there now and the new generation that comes in, and it like people are butting heads.
Because people don't want to accept change. And like, change is here. It's always here.
And you're right. It's a good point you brought up, because it is both ways. And you need, I think, the most important skill today in the workforce, in a classroom, in any kind of setting, is listening. Listening is an art. People don't listen. Most people listen just to prepare what they're going to say next.
Yep.
And they don't take time to process the information. And there's back to an old adage again. It says, knowledge speaks, wisdom listens. And there's a reason why people need to listen. And the older generation needs to listen more. You need to always be listening to try and find that information. And then you figure out, okay, what do I do with this now? But being stubborn and with 40 years of experience is no advantage with somebody that listens and has 0 years experience. So I'll go with a guy with a 0 years experience that's willing to listen and the attitude.
It's a better
That's
philosophy.
why I'm telling you today, Google's hiring people.
Yeah.
Come with the right attitude, you'll learn. Right? So you need a good mix of both.
I think I remember.
And you also need the adaptability.
I was talking with a friend of ours, Nectar, who was, he's consulting now with different companies and everything. And he was telling me how he was working with a company that for the longest time had this marketing team that really wasn't doing fuck all, right? And then from one day to the next, they had to reshape, and they hired this kid that had absolutely zero experience,
and everybody hated,
0 diploma, and he came in because the guy, he's part of the new generation, and he knew everything about social media marketing,
so he had
trends and everything.
He saw everything in a broad scope.
Yeah, but his experience wasn't linked to the education.
He didn't have company experience.
No.
He
It's
had
not
real experience.
He had the experience that isn't linked to whatever education is attached, because now they're just starting to study these things.
That's exactly what we're saying. That's my point before.
And the company hires this kid
That's the future, guys.
Who's working from his house in his pajamas and completely revolutionizing his company.
That's what I'm saying. That's the future.
Yeah, because these 40-year-old veterans, a lot of them, they're dealing with the fear of absolution. They're on their way out, and they're fighting.
Yeah.
You have to evolve. You have to adapt. You have to accept. You have to learn. You never stop learning.
Yeah, exactly.
If you choose to stop learning, you're out.
Be a student for life. People stop learning. People stop. You know when
you can't stop accepting.
Generally when people stop learning, when they land their first job, that's usually when you stop learning. Yeah, you're gonna learn tactic, strategy, a little skill because of your day to day. But fundamentally, people stop learning.
Yeah.
Meaning, what I mean by stop learning, they're closed to new ideas.
And you have to accept that you're wrong too.
And change, right? People hate change.
Yeah.
Change frightens people.
Yeah.
It frightens people. It's threatening. Change is threatening. And I think Nito Cobain says this. The only person that welcomes change is a baby in wet diapers. Everybody else is afraid of it. Right? Only a baby is going to say change me. It's going to start crying change. Everybody else is afraid of change. And nobody will change unless the pain of not changing
is greater.
That's right. The second you feel that the pain that you need to change, now you're going to change. If the pain is not there, you're not going to change.
It's like revolution. You only get up and pick up in arms when there's nothing left to fight for.
Yeah.
That's a great point, and I think on that we're gonna end the podcast. Thanks.
There's so much more to say.
You wanna keep going?
No, that's good.
We gotta save some for next time.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
I gotta go to soccer. Sorry.
Soccer has become the thing. Yeah. Chris has to go to soccer. George has to go enjoy his birthday with his family. And thank you all for listening.
I didn't get my muffin.
I forgot. Sorry.
I had the candle ready.
I was supposed to pick it up on the drive here.
I had the little candle ready. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget, follow, subscribe, comment. We're on every social media platform and everywhere else where you get your podcast or you view your podcast.
Correct us and disprove us if you have to. Thank you.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Comment, like, and share, like I said. And thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode.